Okay, I must say a lot of my bad experiences happened when I was about 15 to 16 years old, as that was the same age my parents finally allowed me to go out with my friends to the mall or to go and eat alone. Any day I would go out or ride the bus, there was always guys hollering at me and catcalling me. That it became so regular to me, and I just ignored them or I just smiled. How sad, right? I've been catcalled since I was 11 by men who were over probably 30. For those who are from smaller towns and aren't familiar with the Los Angeles metro, there is plenty of transits, places where the bus stops last stop and reroutes to where it came from. I usually ended up using these quite frequently, so I was at the transit waiting for my bus to go back home. Number 35, we will say. The 35 bus was coming to the transit, dropped off a couple of people, including 2 men that followed me, then proceed to go inside the lot. So, all I had to do now was wait for the bus to come back and take me home. I had on a t-shirt contained with the words of an artist. One of the guys approached me and commented on my shirt saying he liked the artist and if I had listened to their new album. This wasn't weird to me, and I have never been super iffy about people talking to me. So I talked to him about the artist, and then by the time we were done, the 35 bus came. I grabbed my bag and got up. This is where he began. He then said to me, "Oh, you're leaving? You mind if I get your number?" Then I hit him with the only line I ever know. "I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend," even though I didn't. He responded with, "I just want to be friends. That's it." And I said, "Sorry," and got on the bus. As I sat in the bus, I realized the 2 men got on a little after, and then they sat in the back. Now let me remind you, these men just came from the same place this bus is going to. Why would they go back? It makes no sense. That's when I knew something was not right. I was beginning to get very scared. So I started texting my friend paranoid, letting her know how I felt, that they were following me or something. I can see from the corner of my eye one of them is whispering to each other and then looking at me. Every stop I would pray that they would get off, but they wouldn't. My mind was set on getting off that bus, even if we passed my stop, without them getting off first. We were about 3 stops away from my house when I saw them get up, and I acted as if I didn't notice. I had my headphones in, but wasn't listening to my music, basically to have an excuse to ignore them, but still to be able to act like I didn't hear them. But then the same guy came over to where I was sitting and said, Hey, I'm fucking talking to you." And I ignored it. What he did next scared the living piss out of me too. He snatched my earbud out and said in my ear, "Hello." And as he did that, he caressed my face in the scariest way. I instantly get goosebumps just thinking about it. And I was like, "What the hell? Don't touch me." He then looked at me, smiled, and laughed, and said, "We just wanted to be friends, sweetie." And laughed at me again, as if my fear caused him some sort of pleasure. They got off, and I literally ran home paranoid when I got off. I immediately kicked open the door, ran to my mom, and told her everything. Thankfully, I never saw them again. When I was about 7 years old, I was at my friend's birthday party. We went to a local cinema with about 6 other kids, my friend and her mother. I had to go to the bathroom during the movie, and I told her mom, assuming she'd come with me, because even I knew going to places alone as a child was pretty dangerous. She didn't go with me. I went out to the bathroom alone, and I must mention that this is a small local cinema, which was really old and most of the time empty. Not like regular theaters that nowadays always have people busting in and out of each theater. Anyway, on the way to the bathroom I saw some guy leaning against the sweets and the popcorn counter, seemingly with nothing to do. I thought maybe he was just waiting for his kids to come out of the bathroom or something. At this point, the bathroom was one small room that was separated into 2 different stalls for men and 2 stalls for women. The guy came in about a minute after me. I could see his shadow under the door of the stall that I was in. He was walking back and forth outside it. He shouldn't have been over on the women's side, so this was kind of odd. And no one else was in the bathroom with us, so I started panicking. I stayed in there for a couple minutes because I was just too scared to go out. He was right outside. But then he suddenly left, so I decided to go back outside. And when I walked out of the bathroom, he was standing there, blocking the doorway. Standing with his arms and legs spread like he was about to just grab and scoop me or something. My heart started racing. He was more than twice my size. I was terrified. I thought fast enough to jump through the gap between his legs. I skid on the floor, burned my knees, but I got up and ran fast as I could and ran back to the screen the party was at. The only thing I wish is that it ended there. That night at home, I remember hiding this baby doll I had because I thought the guy was going to come for me and wanted to protect her. My mom noticed me acting weird and asked if there was anything wrong. I blurred out, "This man tried to grab me when I was at the cinema." She kind of brushed it off, like she didn't even think I was telling the truth. But I think she was just trying to act like nothing was wrong for my sake. Though I saw her eyes, she was worried. Later I heard her talking to my dad, and she had asked me what the guy looked like. She asked, did he have a black mustache? He did. Did he have messy hair? He did. But how did she know these things? Turns out he was outside of my fucking house earlier that day, replacing the window, and must have heard my mom talking to me about the party. I don't know what he was planning on doing. If he was going to grab me, kidnap me, something. I'm just glad he didn't. I never saw him after that. My mom contacted the police, and there was nothing that they could do. That's the worst part. Yesterday, while I was walking around alone in a local superstore on my way home from work, I spotted this group of 3 younger men. I'm typically the type that keeps my head down and just keeps walking on, but they were acting loud and carrying on in the store. It's hard not to stare for a few seconds because they were those abrupt type. Anyway, I moved on and went to the automotive section, and they were there. Grabbed a few cans of pet food, and as I rounded the corner, there they were again. I thought, no big deal. They just happened to be in the same place, and carried on with my shopping, as these things happened all the time. As I stopped in the pharmacy area, they were there again. I made eye contact and smiled at one of them, as I wasn't uncomfortable at this time, but he didn't smile back and gave me a very cold stare. It was strange, but I was thinking, well, maybe this person has possibly had a bad day or something. So I shrugged it off and prepared myself for the potential hell that these checkout lines usually are and can be at some times. I looked up while I was waiting to pay and noticed that the men were there, waiting at the end of the scanning aisle on the benches. Again, I thought, it's not a big deal, and grabbed my bag of goodies and was on my way out. I didn't see anyone as I was walking out the store, but I remember thinking it was strange how I seemed to keep running into these same people inside a huge superstore like this. This is when the story takes a downturn. I typically park on the side of the building. There are more parking spaces than in the front, and it's easier to get in and get out. So as I exit, I recognize the same group of 3 men who I had seen around the store. Keys in my hand, I walk towards my car about 30 feet away. When I'm about 5 feet from my car, I hear loud steps coming up behind me. At this point, I'm thinking, maybe they're going to the car next to me. Unfortunately, that was not the case. I get in and lock the doors out of habit, just as the 3 men surrounded my vehicle, asking me, "Where are you going, sweetheart? We just want to talk." One is trying to open my passenger side door. The other is standing next to my back driver's door and behind the car. At this point, my heart is racing, and without giving it a second thought, I put my car in reverse and sped out of the parking lot space like a bat out of hell. And I was putting my car in reverse to drive. They had one more opportunity to say something to me. "We're here all the time. See you soon, sweetheart." Luckily, I was able to get out of the parking space and get home quickly. I pulled into the house, ran inside, locked all the doors, turned off all the lights, and closed all the blinds to make sure, just in case if anybody tried to follow me home. I didn't see anybody. It's needless to say that I stayed up all night just making sure that nobody had. And I will say, it was a very long time till I went back to that store, just in case they were sitting there waiting. I don't even want to know what they were planning on doing to me, but I can tell you right now, it wasn't good. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Once again, I want to tell all of you, thank you for all of the love that you guys have been giving me. Like I usually say, I'm going to try to stay consistent. And hopefully between 2 to 3 days, I'll always have a post. And also, make sure to go check out my links in the description. My Twitter and Instagram links are in the description as well. And just give me a follow if you want to, or if you want to have updates or get any notices before the videos come out. So, once again, I'll see you in the next one.